Breeze was leaked very recently, and some content creators yesterday were actually able to go around the map and just move around, play some games, see how they get a feel for it. As you can see from the minimap, it's a very open map with a lot of big areas, a lot of different angles, something very akin to Icebox as we saw when it was released. And Riot has actually said that this is how they want to make maps in the future. They want to make these big open maps, not the very cookie cutter 3 lanes, 4 lanes, and just everyone rushing down them. Places with a lot of different angles, a lot of different entrances, a lot of different exits, because it makes just for a very interesting map. But the thing with these types of maps is that it can be very different from what we're used to. You can't really play the same way that you do on Bind or on Split, where you can just go down these lanes. A lot of agents can throw utility in them very well. For these big open maps, you know, for Omen smokes, they might not be as good because it only covers a small area, but when you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be a lot harder to cover sight lines. For people like Cypher, he really depends on those tripwires to be in the middle of choke areas. But when there's not that many choke areas in this map, it's harder for him to put the tripwires down, and they become less for information and more for just getting some kills if someone happens to wander into your tripwire. For people like Phoenix, Phoenix's flashes are really about going around corners, but it's hard to go around corners when there's not really very many corners on this map. If you're stuck out in the open, the curveball won't help you as much. On the flip side, someone like Yoru, he relies on walls, but he relies on them to bounce off of, not to go through or around them. So it feels like people like him will be a lot better on this map. And that comes to my point. It feels like Breeze is very meta shifting, because as Riot makes more maps that are like Breeze, like Icebox, that are very open, it feels like people with these updated kits like Yoru, like Sky, who can flash in the middle of the open, who don't rely as much on the terrain, will just have better kits, have a better time in these upcoming maps. And the people like Phoenix, who don't have those corners, as much of those corners in order to flash off of, he just doesn't have the updated kit that's needed for this type of map. So yeah, that's my ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about what this map is going to be like, how it's going to try and shift the meta away from some agents to some other agents.